In 1936, when I was 10 years of age, I was taking polio. And I had to go to the hospital, stay 2 years and 7 months before I got out. And taking 2 operations, but when I got out, I couldn't use my hands. I still don't have the full use of my hands, but my mother had silverware set there, and I kind of snitched out one of her knives and kept messing around with the guitar until I, learned to play like that, left-handed, strings upside down, left-handed, because I didn't have full use of my right hand to just strum on the guitar, so I had to turn it around and use a butter knife, and I developed it, and so no one else can do it but me so far. Well, a lot of people tell me, when I play rock and roll to make more money. I said, well, rock and roll just is not my field. I'm just a blues singer and a slide guitar player. Well, and I played at a place called Mom's Place in East St. Louis, Illinois. Okay, well, we got through, and Robert Nighthawk told me, said, well, we run by here at Ned Love's place and look at this guy play bass. Bass just had come out then, guitar bass. Okay, well, we went by there and was looking at it. And, I didn't know nothing about the place because I'd never been in there before. I was standing there, and he was sitting down over there by the stage. He's sitting down. Well, I was standing up there looking. I walked on crutches because I had polio. And next thing I know, the people back in the back was gambling back then, you see, and I didn't know, and they got fighting, pulling up pistols and everything. Everybody boys through the door, and the little alleyway between the dance floor and the stage, and they run over me and just busted my legs all up, stepped on them, trapped me and busted them up, I stayed in the hospital 5 months, 6 days before I got out. And then I had to stay in the bed till I got home 2 months. See, but a lot of people said I wouldn't walk no more, but I'm still walking on crutches a little bit. Well, my mother, she didn't want me to play no blues. She didn't want me to do it. She always said the devil's gonna get you and all that kind of stuff. And I said, well, one thing about it, you're gonna have to get me because I'm sure gonna play it. She'd run me out of the house a lot of times. I'd go out there and sit on a wood pile. We had wood was stacked up out in the backyard. I'd go out there and sit on that wood pile, play. Couldn't stop me. So one day she had a car. She's out in the field, carrying some cotton pickers to the field. And she heard me, I was in Memphis, WDI on there. And so next time I saw her, she told me, she said, well, that's what you want. I guess that's what you're gonna have to do. You're gonna have to do something to make a living. My stepfather, now he was ready for it. He always would tell me, say, now, well, if you're gonna learn to play music, play it good. So, because someday you have to need something to make a living, see. And he wasn't lying, he told the truth. So I made my living off of for many years. Many night and day. If it hadn't been for me learning to play guitar, I don't know if I'd have had bread to eat.
The audiences at Newport are very enthusiastic, and it's one of the things that has made it a great pleasure for me to come back here for 10 times. This is my 10th season this year. I think, although of course there's a sort of special atmosphere at Newport, I think that the idea of having festivals in a small, intimate setting where it's not a vast concert hall of 3,000 people where you, as an audience member, you might be way, way back from where the person on stage is playing. The idea of having these concerts where the audience is kind of mushed right in there with the performers is nice because they, I think, can, first of all, I think the music that we perform here, in many cases, was created for these kinds of spaces, chamber music and intimate settings, not created to be played in 3,000-seat auditoriums. Then I also think that the audience can, by being in such close proximity, they can see they can really experience what it is like for the performer to be up there making music. They can see the sort of physical and mental exertion when they're watching an ensemble play. They can see the intense communication going on with eye contact and little nods and sometimes whispered cries of desperation, like "Where are we?" But they see that, and that also makes them part of the experience. They're no longer just totally passive listeners. They're able to really see what it is that is the music making experience. And then when the performance goes well, hopefully, then they really know what was at stake and what was involved in making that performance happen. And I think all those things contribute to their enthusiasm. Plus, at intermission, we socialize, we hang out, we have a drink after the concert, and the audience is right there, and they can talk to you, and they can ask you about what was that piece you played, and what's it like to be a musician, and that kind of thing. And all that kind of thing is not so easily done in the standard concert setting, where there's a backstage, and it's very much a divide between the performer and the audience, and if they want to get back to see you, they've got to wait in line backstage. It's a totally different thing. So these kinds of events and these small chamber music festivals, of which Newport is a very, very special example, this is one of the areas where there's some, as I say, room for optimism, because the audience has a chance to experience music in a much more personal way than if they're just sitting in a big mass of people in a large concert hall. So, plus then of course you have the very special setting of the mansions here in Newport, and also the fact that the music chosen to be performed here fits so wonderfully with a lot of the rooms where it's performed. This kind of very sumptuous, romantic music, sometimes a little over the top, which goes right with some of the opulence of the setting. And it's with those, when things are thought out to that degree, where the physical surrounding matches what you're hearing, it makes for a special experience, I think, for the audience goer. That would be my reason for thinking why they have seemed to be so enthusiastic over the years, which they have.
Yes, definitely. I think absolutely. Mark's enthusiasm is so incredibly contagious, and it's true that we do three concerts a day, and sometimes 4 or 5 rehearsals put in. But Mark's at every single concert, and his energy level is just an inspiration. It's just amazing how much energy this man has.
Mm-hmm. And I think he really has a way of understanding very deeply the musicians who come here. He has a real way of understanding everybody's psyche and what everybody's about as a musician, and that really draws you to him. I mean, I became such good and close friends with him almost immediately the first year I came here, and he's a very perceptive person, and I think that is
very, very sensitive.
Something we all need.
A lot of
personalities.
A lot of, and I think that's how he's put together artistic musicians that he has.
We're going into psychoanalysis.
Yes.
7 with a Mexican-American label, Vulcan Records. And from there I recorded with Ideal Records, with Argo Records, with Thunder Records, you name it, with Imperial Records, with Chess Records, with ABC, with MCA, with CBS or Columbia. I was with Warner Brothers. So that's only just a little bit of it, really, because I've been with a lot of labels. But, the fact that you've been with a lot of labels doesn't mean that you have been with the big Daddy Rabbit labels. They're mostly little outfits, and you just want to record so bad that you don't think, you don't stop to think that after the record comes out, it could be a million seller, but it could never sell, because that little label doesn't have any distribution or nothing. They're just interested in phase number 1, and from there on they don't know what to do. So actually, with big labels, it's been Warner Brothers, CBS, and MCA, and which was ABC.